Many of you guys remember that a report came out a while ago that in the ever-increasing and growing number of Marvel shows that they're trying to make for Disney Plus, Wonder Man with Yahya Abdul-Mateen was rumored going to be taking over the role as Wonder Man. Now, of course, Disney never officially made that announcement, but a lot of pretty reliable sources came out and claimed that that was happening. But we've been hearing some whispers lately that Wonder Man might be one of the projects that has been suffering the axe and is now gone. And apparently that's being backed up by a new book coming out as well, saying that the Wonder Man show has been canceled. This comes from the folks at Screen Geek who write the following. While speaking on the Watch podcast, MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios co-author Joanna Robinson was discussing the situation with Daredevil Born Again and explained how it ties in with another upcoming Marvel series in Wonder Man. Sadly, Robinson notes, Wonder Man might not have the opportunity to head any further into production like Born Again. She said, even after we heard about the Daredevil situation, I've also heard again that they are trashing the Wonder Man project. Like there is a lot of stuff that is going into the can. And once again, that comes to us from Screen Geek. And this is pretty consistent, actually, with a lot of stuff we've been hearing coming out of Marvel. You guys remember when Bob Iger took over Disney again, one of the comments he made about Marvel was they were making too much product. It was diluting the product of Marvel, and that they would be reining it in a little bit. Now, of course, they trashed everything they've got going on with Daredevil, but they're going to continue making that. They're just going back to the drawing board, bringing in new writers, all that kind of stuff. We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, Masterclass. Guys, you know, as a small business owner, I am finding myself having to be in negotiations all the time, whether it's with new contractors, vendors, or even agencies that represent our company. Now, I don't like to go into these negotiations unarmed, so I found the perfect class on Masterclass, The Art of Negotiation by Chris Voss, a real-life former FBI lead hostage negotiator. Taking this class on Masterclass made me feel a lot more equipped and confident going into all these various negotiations I have to do on a regular basis. With Masterclass, you can learn from the best to become your best anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. An annual membership starts at just $10 a month, and you get unlimited access to every instructor, thousands of online lessons, exclusive content, insight, and much more. There are over 180 classes to pick from, everything from filmmaking with Martin Scorsese all the way to cooking with the great Gordon Ramsay. In Masterclass, you will find practical lessons that you can apply to your life and work. So guys, get unlimited access to every class, and right now, as a John Campea Show listener, you can get 15% off when you go to masterclass.com/Campea. That's masterclass.com/Campea for 15% off an annual membership. Masterclass.com/Campea. But Rob, you and I think both assumed and believed that at some point, because there was a hell of a lot of Disney plus Marvel shows on the roadmap, like a hell of a lot of them. I think we both assumed some of them would be getting the axe. Is Wonder Man one of the ones that makes sense to put to the axe? Is this one you were really hoping that would come through? Are you surprised by this? What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, Wonder Man in the comics, in the original version of Wonder Man, Simon Williams was created. Well, Wonder Man was created by Baron Zemo, and Baron Zemo used scientific super science to turn him into a superhero. And he originally, I mean, it was a villain. He drew the Avengers in against the Masters of Evil. And he was one of those classic characters that began as a villain that turned into a hero. And while I like that journey, he's had a convoluted history. And how do you, I mean, I'm sure they were going to change him from the comics, even though they probably shouldn't, because we've seen Baron Zemo in the series, you know, in Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I think it could have worked, but the character, I think, isn't necessarily a marquee. Like, his experience isn't marquee enough. It's not different enough. It's just another variation on how Captain America was created in a way. So what does he bring to the MCU?
Right.
Although he was a great Avenger.
They haven't
really. Who are the Avengers, John?
Have you noticed anything in the MCU up until this point, because I haven't, but have you noticed any Easter eggs or any name drops or anything in any dialogue that even remotely hinted that they were setting up a Wonder Man, or was this going to kind of be a cold intro?
Well, I think it was going to be a cold intro, but in the comics, Wonder Man Williams Industries was like a rival of Stark Industries.
Right, yeah.
And I would have thought that they might have tied this into Armor Wars. Like they might have jettisoned the series, but we might see the character. I could totally see the character showing up in Armor Wars. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
That would have been a nice introduction point for him, actually, if they were going to move ahead with it.
I think that's what they might. I mean, they might have shifted their plans to, instead of introducing him as in his own series, they introduce him in Armor Wars and then spin it off later. Maybe if he's popular, because like that's what they did with Black Panther, you know, and in Civil War, T'Challa was such an impressive, and Chad Boseman's portrayal was so impressive. We couldn't wait to see him again.
Of course,
and we've talked a lot about how. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, but Black Panther's a little bit of a different situation. Like Black Panther was like I think that was one of Kevin Feige's priorities, was getting Black Panther into the. I mean, a lot of people speculate. I don't know that there's any truth to it, but that maybe Black Panther T'Challa was being set up to be maybe being one of the new leaders of the Avengers post Endgame. But then, of course, the tragic passing of the lead actor. But Wonder Man, you know, not as well known, not as popular as a character. Maybe they just looked at him as being one of the more expendable characters that they could cut out.
Yeah, and he's, to be honest, he's kind of goofy. Like,
you know, it depends on the version they go with, right?
Yeah, it depends on how his background. He's had a lot of this is some people are going to get mad at me, but there's a character in the Justice League called Snapper Carr, and Snapper Carr was like a normal dude. And even though Wonder Man was not, he was imbued with powers, he always kind of struck me as the normal dude in the Avengers. If that makes any sense. He was, to me, the Snapper Carr of the Avengers, even though that isn't the right thing to say, but I kind of felt that way.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called The John Campea Show Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.